Well, one thing I know, obviously, that had to be altered significantly as a result of COVID-19 pandemic was, of course, the budget. Libby, you have said previously that the budget that the board adopted in April was in no way, shape, or form the budget that the manager originally presented back in February. What has changed?
Oh my, a lot.
To say the least.
Basically, we had a budget that was an increase of about 3.4%, I think, and we were going to do great. We were having new programs coming on, and all of a sudden we went from that, an increase, to a $56 million decrease. I mean, it was crazy. So, and the budget went from, what was it, Katie, 410 pages down to 13, I think it was. Just trying to
it is an interesting balance, especially for our budget eagle eyes who would want to follow along. We both have a lot of the ongoing priorities laid out in the manager's original proposal, but really the document that most supersedes it is, I think, that 13 or 16 page addendum and memo that our manager presented us with. That so the budget we adopted on April 30th emphasizes that above all.
Yeah, and the important thing for people, this is going to be changing. I mean, basically, we adopted a budget where we really aren't very sure at all what our revenues are going to be, and we're really not sure at all what our expenses are going to be. Those are kind of two key areas for a budget. So clearly, as we get more information, we will be revisiting that budget quite a bit. We're just adapting.
And I think commendation really goes to our Department of Management and Finance for really trying to do the best guess they could to give us a document that is as realistic as possible. Libby's exactly right. There's no way we're going to get through fiscal 20 or possibly not even start fiscal 20 in July without revisiting this. But the team did a lot of thoughtful forecasting, predicting based on what they were starting to see with areas of revenue that have taken big hits this fiscal year. Certainly things like our restaurant tax or hotel tax, as people can imagine, as well as calibrating with jurisdictions around the region to see how they were handling this estimating and forecasting. And based on the results of what we did predict, the manager was able to solve for, so to speak, that 56 million, instituting a hiring slowdown, freezing salaries, dipping into the stabilization reserve. One of the tactics he also employed was redirecting. We were going to try to increase the allocation of ongoing money, one-time money to the Affordable Housing Master Fund by 2.7 million. That was redirected to emergency housing like rent subsidies for needs for now. We know our partners at APS did also have to manage to a decrease in their budget. So I think, again, Libby's absolutely right. This is going to be much more iterative than our budgets usually are. But I also think due to that great work from our management and finance and department directors, we were able to pass a budget that's not a fiction, right? That does hew to some good projections, manages expenditures accordingly. And I think that's part of the reason I have confidence that Arlington's going to be in sound fiscal health, even if our revenues and therefore expenditures do take a significant dip in the year ahead.
Yeah, and we are lucky to have some reserves, which over the year people have criticized. But I think it's pretty clear now why it's important to have those reserves. One of the issues that's come up is people wanted us to lower the tax rate because it's different. And believe me, we know how difficult it is for people to sometimes actually be paying the real estate taxes. So among the many different sort of safety net programs that we've kind of been beefing up, in one way is our treasurer has worked to make sure there's more in our taxpayer assistance fund called TAP. And anyone who's got concerns about being able to pay taxes can contact the treasurer. People have said, why don't you postpone it? Why don't you postpone the taxes a month or so, which is what some of our neighbors have done. Well, a month in this pandemic is not going to get you very far because this is going to be going on for a long time. And the TAP program actually gives you a whole year to make payments at a very, very low rate. It's a very low cost loan. And our treasurer will really work with people and businesses as much as she can. So I encourage people, if they're having difficulty, to reach out just right away to the treasurer and let her know, and they will work with people to do that. So that is one of the many. I mean, I would say, Katie, if you agree, I mean, most of our focus now is on supporting people and getting us all through this pandemic.
That's a great point. And I think, we had a lot of conversations about the tax rate and what that meant in these current circumstances. And, it's a blunt instrument, the property tax rate. We are fortunate. There are a lot of folks in Arlington that are doing okay financially. I saw one of those websites ranked us one of the #1 places in the country to work from home. And so there are a lot of homeowners who fortunately, and we hope, will continue to come through this without a lot of impact. There are other homeowners who are facing really significant needs. And I think, as Libby was just describing with the TAP program, the goal is to get assistance to those who need it. And the property tax relief would be a pretty blunt instrument, which would leave us with fewer resources to get to those who need it. So we know that there are absolutely property owners in need. The TAP program is a great example. They are also eligible for emergency financial assistance for paying things like mortgages or other costs. And so we really want to focus on those, whether they are renters or homeowners who are experiencing financial strife right now.
Yeah, right now we have got to be strategic.
Absolutely. You have mentioned that it's very possible that the board may need to revise the 2021 budget in the coming months as we see what's going on with this pandemic. Would there be some kind of additional public process then in that kind of situation if it does need to be revised?
That's a really good question. Probably some. But probably more in the way it gets introduced in a meeting and presented, and we get some comments, and then a little while later we adopt. I don't think we're going to be able to take a whole lot of time for a whole long set of processes because we just simply can't do that. But we certainly will be doing it. And as I said earlier, with communications with all this, we really welcome ideas from people. People are sending in a lot of ideas. We are all making this up as we go. None of us has been through something like this, right. And this is a smart community. And we really do welcome ideas that people have to send in on how we do just about anything. And usually Arlingtonians aren't shy. So that's actually been helpful.
Okay, well, the budget was, of course, the big news for the April board meeting, but the board did take quite a few other actions as well. We're going to talk about some of those, including a new assisted living facility for Arlington, as well as some construction now underway on the Amazon HQ2 project in Pentagon City. That's all when we come right back.